Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the bay.
Handsome, charming, specially marked boxes of Monster cereals. No, inside one of these free wax lips, fangs, or mustaches, they just uncover the real you. We now continue with
about 8 years ago, we started looking into the issue of heroin and its effect on rural Pennsylvania. That led to opioids and now into fentanyl and everything else. And what we found out, obviously, is that what we originally started off looking at as an issue affecting rural Pennsylvania, it obviously affects much, much more of Pennsylvania and of the United States. When
funky colors, shapes that swing.
It's impossible.
A Pittsburgh heroin dealer was sentenced to life in prison plus 80 years for murdering a federal witness. United States Attorney Cindy Chung says Price Montgomery killed Tina Crawford and severely wounded her mother, Patsy Crawford, as they were leaving their Hill District home back in 2014.
For this tonight, 2 men busted with 75,000 bags of heroin at a home owned by former Steeler Deshae Townsend. Property records show Townsend owned the Mount Washington home since 2006, but there's no indication he was involved here or had any knowledge. Investigators also found more than a dozen firearms, $100,000, and a live chicken. Townsend, a 13-year pro cornerback, is now a coach at Mississippi State. This neighbor shared his reaction.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's unfortunate for something like that to be going on, and your landlords. It's hard to pick the right tenant sometimes.
The 2 men in jail, Price Montgomery and James Perrin, face multiple drug-related charges. This bust is part of an investigation into upper-level heroin trafficking in Pittsburgh. Calls to Mississippi State were not returned.
The answer is that they are not going to be seeking the death penalty. They'll be seeking life in prison. The reason for that is that while he's accused of being responsible for this witness's killing, he is not charged directly with homicide. Federal, state, and local law enforcement lined up to send a message to those who would try to silence citizens who speak out about crime.
Today's indictment demonstrates our unwavering commitment to seek justice for Tina and her family.
Just 75 minutes before the witness was to meet with federal authorities investigating upper-level heroin dealing in Pittsburgh, she was gunned down in a wave of bullets at her Hill District home. Tina Crawford died from that August 22, 2014 shooting, and her mother, Patsy Crawford, was wounded.
Tina Crawford lost her life doing what she felt was best for her community.
Now, Price Montgomery is charged with witness intimidation in her killing. His cell phone with his DNA was found at the scene.
We will use every tool available to pursue criminals who seek to intimidate and inflict harm upon witnesses.
Beyond the charges in this specific case, law enforcement is making clear this larger message.
You are not above the law, and when you threaten or retaliate against a witness, the gloves will come off.
Montgomery is also being held on other charges, including allegedly trying to get someone to take action to hurt other people who might be testifying against him. Reporting live at the Pittsburgh Federal Court, downtown, Bob Mayo, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
Hey, we back on MOBB business. Shit got Popalot. We headed to Pittsburgh with it. Y'all meet us in the Hill District. RP my guy Jimmy Wapo. All right, females. Imagine being part of a drug conspiracy with 2 gentlemen and the two gentlemen end up getting arrested. Then police come and question and possibly arrest you. You choose to cooperate, and the two gentlemen come to get you, and they don't care if your mama is with you. Yeah, this one wicked. Now, today, I'm going to be telling you the story of a guy by the name of Price Montgomery. Now, according to authorities, Price Montgomery is going to be a mid to high level heroin dealer in the Hill District area of Pittsburgh. Now, let me explain to you how a time from April 2013 until June of 2014 would cause a series of tragic events on August 22nd, 2014 that would nearly lead up to Price Montgomery getting an electric chair, only to be handed down the elbow. Damn. So, like I said, the government would conclude that the operation would start somewhere around April 2013, but it would begin to spiral out of hand right around March of 2014, because on that day at about 1 p.m., authorities would pull over a blue Audi SUV with the occupants being Price Montgomery as well as another individual by the name of James Perrin. After a search of the vehicle, authorities would discover a gold backpack that would contain 125 bricks of heroin, according to a criminal complaint. So you know what's coming next. Ding, ding, ding. You got it. The authorities would go on to obtain a search warrant for a house that would be owned by a 13-year NFL pro and former Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback, Deshae Townsend. Now, after searching the house, authorities would uncover 1,500 bricks of heroin, or what they said was the equivalent of 75,000 stamp bags, 16 firearms that included 4 assault rifles, ammunition, over $100,000 in cash, luxury vehicles, and a live chicken. No bullshit. They found 1 live chicken. Now, government spokeswoman Carolyn Myers will go on to say that these are not street-level dealers. They would be supplying street-level dealers. Now, after reviewing the case in totality, you would have thought that they would have been hip or knew a little bit better, as in March of that same year, just a few months before this arrest, Portview police would arrest James Perrin and go on to charge him with possession with the intent to deliver, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, as well as driving on a suspended or revoked license when he would flee from police after he would be found asleep in an SUV. Police would go on to find 90 packets of heroin on him at the time, as well as 1,250 packets of heroin hidden under a pine tree, about 8 houses from where James Perriman's vehicle was parked. So when he would be stopped with Price Montgomery, he was already out on a $50,000 bond and was scheduled for arraignment just weeks later on June 24th. Now, records would show that Price Montgomery would go on to post $125,000 in bail the very next day after the traffic stop. And I'm sure with being on bail for a crime like that, you got a lot of time to think about your future, what could convict you, and pretty much the loose ends in your case. And that's where a female by the name of Tina Crawford, who is a self-admitted drug carrier or somebody that moved the drugs for the organization that involved Montgomery and Perrin. Not sure if they were made aware of it or not, but Tina Crawford had begun cooperating with the authorities. Days after her death, her sister Tamara would say that Tina had recently moved back to her mother's house and was preparing to work on her master's degree in criminology. She would also say that days before her death, she would admit to her family members that she had been involved in a criminal investigation, but did not mention any danger that she was in. But unbeknownst to Tina, 15,000 bricks of heroin is a lot, and Price Montgomery was thinking about that time. Now, not sure if he was aware of her cooperating with the authorities, which I would have to think he might have been, as she was killed an hour before going to meet with them. But on August 22nd, 2014, 3 gunmen would fire at least 20 shots at Tina and her mother, hitting Tina upwards of 10 times, 3 times in the head. No suspects were immediately found, but I kind of found it suspicious. Just days after her slaying on August 26, 2014, Michael Hash and Margaret Harding would write an article for the Tribune Live titled "Mystery Continues to Surround Hill District Slaying," where they would go on to talk about the murder of Tina Crawford. But during the course of that same article, they would talk about a series of charges to be dropped against Price Montgomery, as well as overstating the fact that he was out on bail. And I'm not quite sure how it took that long, but it would be more than a year later, in November of 2015, when Price Montgomery would be indicted for the murder of Tina Crawford. And when you see the evidence that the authorities had, it was pretty much a no-brainer, because during the course of the shootout or the murder of Tina Crawford, a cell phone was discovered during the investigation that would contain the DNA of Price Montgomery. Damn. So when you look at everything in the totality of this case, the authorities don't speak on what other evidence they had. They had a lot of evidence that connected him to the drug conspiracy, but it was minor evidence that connected him to that murder. But, and you ain't going to get away from leaving your cell phone on the scene. He probably made a call too or something like that. Man, if I told y'all once, I told y'all 3 million times. Man, if you sliding, what you need a phone for? Initially, the government would look to seek the death penalty against Price Montgomery, but he would end up being handed down a mandatory minimum life sentence for the killing of the witness, as well as his charges in the drug crime. So, to the people think about playing, this is going to be a prime example of showing you how 1 year balling could end up costing you your life of living. So, make sure you know what choices you make when you choose them. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box. Y'all run it up. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we miss, what gangsters I need to tap in with, what y'all want us to talk about or cover, and we right on it. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And we be back with some more real Trill Spill shit ASAP, man. Shit got Popalot. Whole lot of mob shit going on, though.